Hello, and welcome once again to the Couch Potato Podcast. On this week's episode, I'm joined once again by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Lucas, as him and I sit down to talk about 2007's Superbad. So, coming up after the trailer, Superbad.
It's Carrie Hutchins.
Yeah, I heard she got breast reduction surgery.
What? It's like slapping God across the face.
She had back problems, man.
Meet Seth.
Do you have any bigger clothes, or do you only shop at Baby Gap?
Evan. And Fogo.
Check it, my brand new fake ID.
Doesn't even have a first name. It just says
McLovin?
Yeah.
Great name.
It is. It just rolls off the tongue.
Sounds like a sexy hamburger.
Three lifelong friends that are about to go their separate ways.
You know when you hear girls saying like, "Oh, I was so gone last night. I shouldn't have slept with that guy." We could be that mistake.
From the guys who brought you the 40-year-old virgin.
Break yourself.
Shit! Bam, bam, bam!
How bad
We just need to think this out.
Forget thinking. We need to act.
Whoa, Seth!
do you want it?
Sup?
Do you have a condom?
I got a boner.
Superbad.
McLovin! Whoa! Nice!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. I'm Russ, and joining me as always is Lucas. Lucas, what's going on, man?
No, just trying to get this cursed episode of the broadcast or the podcast off the ground.
Yeah, well, this is our second go around trying to do this, having Skype issues earlier, because that's how we do our chat. Shut off midway through a sentence, and we were trying to figure out a way to have the first lady of the Couch Potato Podcast, Jen, on, but we, of course, it wouldn't be an episode of our show without some kind of technical issue.
That is correct.
Because we just need to hire, like a 10-year-old kid to just come and do, set up everything and make sure everything's on the up and up. I'm sure they could do a much better job than we could.
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, on this week's episode, we're going to do Superbad, which is an episode that has been long requested by one of our 5 loyal listeners, Joey from Springfield, Ohio. He won a contest that we ran back in, what was that, July? Where we were asking people to, if you left us a 5-star review, you would had an opportunity to, you could suggest a movie, and we would do it as an episode. Only 2 people gave us reviews, which I guess apparently wasn't a great idea as a contest. We did Friday the 13th Part 2 back in October from our That Winter Gauge, and then Joey selected Superbad and couldn't figure out a good time to do it, so we decided to do it today.
Sir!
So Superbad is the episode this week, and Joey, we hope you enjoy it, and we hope all of you guys enjoy this one too. I mean, this is an awesome movie. I don't see why not. Lucas, when was the first time you seen Superbad?
Oh, probably like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I'm not sure. I didn't see it in theater.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got pressured by said Joey to watch it, and then I finally did.
Yeah. Me and Jen, when we were just a young couple that were in love with one another before she got married and eventually realized that she made a huge, huge mistake, but it's too late. Her and I went seen this in the movie theaters when it first came out. I think it was the weekend after the Bourne Ultimatum had come out the week before, because usually August is like a dumping ground for like the summer movies. You might get one decent one, and then they just dump the rest of the shit just to get it out. But I remember August of this year was really, really good. I just can't remember if this was... I don't remember whether this is... Bourne was before this one or after this one.
I'm not sure, but I'll look it up for you real quick.
But if I do recall, you did not like Superbad originally, though, right?
I was not the biggest fan of it, no.
You care to go into any detail why you didn't like it this first time?
It was hyped up a lot for me by pretty much anybody I talked to. And then I watched it, and I don't know if I was just expecting something different of it or what, but I just wasn't as blown away as I had hoped to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's really all it was.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like there are movies that, or just anything in general, if it gets too blown up out of proportion, and if it's almost like it can't meet the standards, even no matter how good it is. So,
right.
I personally loved it, and it just got me to thinking when I was watching this last night. The 20th or the 21st century comedies. Last few years have kind of been very dry. There hasn't really been a lot coming out, but I remember the early to mid 2000s was just an absolute murderer's row of just great, great comedy movies. And it just got me thinking, where would you put Superbad amongst the top comedies of this century?
I would put it in my top 15. I don't think it would crack my top 10. Mm-hmm. On the first recording of this that is lost to the wind now, I actually was looking up a lot of the comedies from the 2000s, and it's just, like you said, it's a murderer's row. Like, I totally forgot Little Nicky came out in 2000. I love that movie. Put that above this as far as comedies go, and I was just looking at all of them. So I'd say probably top 15, but not top 10.
Yeah, I actually thought of a couple more while we were doing this. Obviously, for me, number one, it's probably my favorite comedy from this century is Anchorman.
You do love Anchorman.
I think that's the standard bearer for the comedies of this century. Let's see. I completely forgot about Tropic Thunder. I know Tropic Thunder, there's a lot of stuff in Tropic Thunder that hasn't aged very well, and a lot of stuff in Tropic Thunder, it's extremely inappropriate. But there's still a lot of really great stuff in there. I
honestly don't think it's any more inappropriate than this, than Superbad.
That's true. Superbad is still really, really good. The Hangover is another one. Hangover is one of the movies that, like, I know for a fact I laughed so hard I was in tears at some stuff. Yeah. Step Brothers is another great one. Forgetting Sarah Judd Apatow, anything Judd Apatow put his handprints on in this decade is golden.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say Superbad's probably my top 5.
I
mean, like, I watched it last night. It's still hysterical.
I did laugh a bit more this time watching it. I think this is only the second or third time I've even watched it. But while I was watching it, I did laugh a bit more. There were some things that had me laughing out loud.
Right. I know for me, like, that was kind of like a representation of, like, my high school years. That's pretty much when I was in high school. That's all I was about. Me and my friends. And, like, I think the Jonah Hill character is, like, kind of a combination of the two guys that I hung out with the most in high school. So I think that's kind of why I like it a little bit, and I think I kind of relate more to the Michael Cera character.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how I think I was more in high school than the Jonah Hill. So I think just the fact that I kind of relate to that story a little bit more is probably one of the reasons why I like it so much.
Yeah, I was more about, well, I mean, I guess I was kind of like that too, but just minus the drinking. I didn't do any drinking when I was in high school.
Oh, dude, I was all about partying though. There was I can't tell you how many different ways. Well, luckily for me, I had a friend that was a couple of years older, and for some reason, the grocery store he worked at, they thought he was like 22 years old when he wasn't. He was like a year and a half older than I was. So he was able just to go into the store and buy beer whenever he wanted. And then by proxy, I was able to go in and buy it a lot because outside of a more gray, and a lot more hair, I kind of looked the same.
Yeah.
I could grow a beard. So, like, if I had a beard, like, I had no issues buying beer from them as well. So by proxy, I was able to go in and buy alcohol. There's this one particular store because my friend worked there, and they thought he was 22. So,
what was it like the first time you went in to buy alcohol? Were you as nervous as McLovin?
Oh, dude, I was like, fuck, they're gonna call the cops on me, and I mean, luckily for me, when I bought it, like nobody came in and robbed the grocery store like what happened in this. But then after that, like I could just go in there and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy a 6-pack of fucking Miller Lite. And, okay, cool. Here's your change. Have a nice day.
That's awesome.
And then after that grocery store shut down, it became extremely difficult until I got to be 21.
Had to plot it out, find a homeless guy.
Although it does remind me of a funny story. A friend of mine had just turned 21, and we were having a party at my cousin's house, and
I know this story.
We asked him to go into the liquor store and buy some tequila and some other stuff, and he goes into the liquor store and asks for a 40 ounce of tequila, and it just fucking face palm, like, oh fuck, like we're screwed now. And then another thing, like the lady that worked at the liquor store thought I went to school with her son, and her son at this point was like 35.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like 20, so. Oh yeah, I was like, I remember him. How's he doing? Tell him I said hi. And then every time after that, I go to the liquor store without an ID and buy liquor if I wanted to.
Oh man.
All right, well, hey, you ready to start some categories? You ready to dig into this?
I am, although I was enjoying story time with Russ.
Well, maybe we'll make that like an offshoot, like just like in the middle of the week, something, just like a little 5-minute interlude. Kind of like, the old,
like a bonus behind the scenes of this episode.
Like you bought like a rap CD in like the 90s. They always had that little 2-minute interlude, like some kind of funny story or skit happening.
Yeah.
Like the Marshall Mathers stuff, the Eminem, like I remember like the Ken Kniff from Connecticut.
Paul Rosenberg.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Tale of the Tape Superbad was released on August the 17th, 2007.
And by the way, the Bourne Ultimatum was August 3rd, 2007.
Okay, so it was a couple weeks before. So yeah, that was a banging August that year for the movies, because they don't put out movies. Like, well, right now the pandemic's kind of wiped. Like, summer movie season hasn't been the same in a couple of years, but it used to be everything came out in May, June, and July. Then August was just like you might get one movie that was big, and the rest of it was just kind of shitty. And then I think this started a trend, because I think the following year was Tropic Thunder and Pineapple Express were in August.
Which you already know the story about that.
Yeah. But, if you've listened to the Role Models episode, you can find out what Lucas is talking about. But yeah, anyways, Superbad released on August the 17th, 2007. This stars Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Emma Stone, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Is that how we decided that we're pronouncing his name?
Yes.
Okay. Probably we fucked it up but you know what? It wouldn't be an episode of our show without it.
You know what? If he likes the show, he's free to, come in here and correct us.
Yeah. What was his character's name in Kick-Ass? Wasn't he like the red bastard or something? Or, oh no, he was the motherfucker.
That's right, the motherfucker.
Well, if the motherfucker wants to come on, I'm more than happy to have him on. This also stars Bill Hader and Seth Rogen. Directed by Greg Mottola. A Rotten Tomatoes score of 87% from critics and 87% from audiences. Box office was $170 million on a $20 million budget.
Made some cash.
Yeah, which wasn't that the budget for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? Something like that. And that was in 89. This is in 2000. That was in 88. This is 2007.
Yeah, I think what was 23?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. This did not win any awards, and you can currently stream this on the Cock.
Get on the Cock.
Yeah, get on the Cock right now. You can stream Superbad. You can watch Men's Luge on the Cock. The alternate stream of Super Bowl 56 on the Cock.
You can get a lot of stuff on the Cock.
You can take it all in on the Cock.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. Cock's
not just the tip of the episodes, the whole thing.
Yeah, the cock's pretty big when it comes to programming and stuff.
It's a big cock.
Yeah, it's a big app. The Detective Somerset Research Corner. I know Lucas and I usually will share notes before we start recording, just so we kind of don't have the same stuff. And when Lucas shared his notes with me, he pretty much cherry picked everything that I had written down. So I had to redo all my research about a half an hour before we started recording.
Well, maybe if we weren't such good friends, I wouldn't know what you were thinking.
That could be it. I mean, we're like Seth and Evan.
That's true.
They got that symmetry thing going on.
I would carry you to save you from the police.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm a pretty big fella. It'd probably be me carrying you.
Either way.
I know if I did try that, I'd be fucking winded like 15 seconds into doing it.
Oh, well, I mean, so was Seth. So
yeah, I would have been that fella did that. Yeah, and put my hands on my knees. Well, the research that I have, screenwriters were Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. They wrote this movie when they were 13 years old. They did it to see if they could write a movie.
In some points, yeah.
Yeah. They did it to see if they could write a movie, and they based the characters on themselves.
I could see that.
Yeah. And I guess apparently this movie had been in development since I think the mid-'90s. It had been sitting on the shelf for a while, and Seth Rogen was supposed to play the Seth character at one point, but he kind of got to be too old, so they eventually cast Jonah Hill when they finally decided to make it.
Makes sense.
This movie uses the word fuck 176 times, and the movie itself's only 113 minutes. Now, Lucas, I know we're recording this kind of late. I don't know, your brain function, if you're sharp as a tack or, incredibly dull and tired, but math-wise, that's an average of 1.6 fucks a minute.
So that's about what I average too.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my normal day-to-day conversations.
Yeah, job interviews, when you're speaking to your son.
If only that weren't true.
Yeah, Jonah Hill says the word 84 times just by himself. Which,
it's impressive.
When they said 84, I was like, yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
I thought this story was pretty funny. The dick drawings that are prominent in this movie, they were drawn by Evan Goldberg's brother David, and I guess they underwent a lot of scrutiny at Sony. Each one of them had to get approved by their legal team.
Each dick.
Yeah, and I guess apparently I think this was on the running or the director's commentary you can find on DVDs, which I wish they would do that with the digital movies a lot more. I'd probably revisit a lot of these a lot more, but apparently they'd get some feedback on some of them, such as the dick is too veiny or it's too big.
So is this why this movie is on the cock?
That could be. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And
Cock's on the cock.
I might go check it out as soon as we're done here. When you watch stuff on Peacock, they'll have like a photograph of the movie you're getting ready to watch. Yeah. I wonder if they'll have those pictures on there. And then the last one that I have is this is Eminem's favorite movie, the rapper. It's even referenced in a couple of his songs, Brainless and Ballin' Uncontrollably, and that's a problem you have, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see me right now. I'm wearing this awesome fucking wife beater with my hamburger meat hanging out here.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I look like that fucking guy from that old Adult Swim cartoon.
Oh, Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother kind of reminds me of him too, except he doesn't wear flip-flops. But that's all I got since you stole all the good ones. Lucas, what do you have?
All right, let me pull out all the good ones that Russ had here. This is Emma Stone's first movie.
Yeah, I had seen she had done a couple of TV shows, and she had auditioned for a couple of big movies and didn't get them. But yeah, this is her first movie. I thought was kind of strange.
Also, if she were president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln.
She would.
Judd Apatow in an interview with Cinema Blend said he always wanted to do a sequel to Superbad, but I couldn't convince anybody. The actors, no one with Superbad, thought we should do another Superbad. But I wanted to do a Superbad in college desperately, but no one would listen to me.
That actually, yeah, that would have... I'm not for a lot of comedy sequels because a lot of times they don't work. Case in point, the Hangover 2 and 3 are not very good. I don't think Anchorman 2, I mean, it has its moments, but I don't think it's as good as the first one. I just don't think, for the most part, comedy sequels work because it's essentially a rehash of the first movie, but it's normally like in a different setting.
Right.
But I would have watched Superbad too.
Well, I think with comedies, it's kind of like a flash in the pan. You know, those jokes hit at that moment, but you know, you try to, even if you try to modernize something, it doesn't necessarily work out the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably missing some like comedy sequels that are pretty good. Like I know the 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, I think that one is on par with the first one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
I mean, that's like a recent one that I can think of. I'm sure I'm missing some, but for the most part, comedy sequels don't work. But I would, yeah.
Well, I like the Naked Gun sequels.
Yeah,
they're not as good, but they're still good.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. They could have even done a sequel to Superbad where it was just Hader and Rogen's characters too. I would have paid to see that movie.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, we'll get to them a little bit later.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse landed the McLovin role because Jonah Hill hated him so much. So when they first met, Jonah Hill said that he couldn't get a word in edgewise because Christopher Mintz-Plasse was so... What's the word that he used? I read.
Well, from what I've seen, he said that he was walking over his lines.
I didn't see that part, but I'm sure that happened too. But he was really good at improv, and he wouldn't let Jonah Hill really talk at all, even when they weren't filming. Mm-hmm. So he fucking hated him when they first met.
Yeah, the thing that I had was, I guess during the audition, Plasse was walking like over Seth Rogen's lines, which basically like he was like kind of overpowering whatever Jonah Hill was trying to say, but the producers pulled Jonah Hill aside and like, hey, okay, if this is true, point it out. And I guess Jonah Hill couldn't think of he couldn't point out a single instance where he was doing that. And they said actually it made the scenes better.
Yeah. Well, this is not part of my notes, but I did see that they kept rolling even after they were supposed to stop, because a lot of the stuff in this is improv. Mm-hmm. Just because some of the funniest moments that they captured were just when the cameras weren't supposed to be rolling.
Yeah.
I think, for instance, when they were looking at the porn at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Funny story about that last night. We were watching that last night, and my 10-year-old son comes walking through the living room right when that happens.
Nice.
And he just looks like, goes, what are you guys watching? And just walks right back into his...
That's perfect.
They were just like, son, don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's not what you think.
The last one I have is Plasse had to have his mom on set because during this he was actually I believe he was the only underage.
Yeah, he was 17. Everyone else was 18 or older.
He had to have his mom on set, even for the scene where he was having sex in the bedroom upstairs.
Yeah, I think I read an interview where he says that they've never spoken about that, not even once, which I would not be, like, I would be the same way. Like, there would be no way in hell I could talk about that with my mom.
That would be so fucking awkward.
Oh, yeah, it's like,
Especially the part where he's like, I got a boner. And then you could just feel your mom's eyes on you, like, ugh.
Yeah, or he's just like, oh, it's in. I'd been fucking creeped out. Like, I wouldn't have been able to perform. Like, like she can be here, but can she be behind that glass wall or?
Can she sign a waiver that says that she was here, but she really wasn't?
Right. Yeah. All right. Good stuff, Lucas. Good stuff. I mean, I know it's good stuff this time because it's the same shit I had written down.
Thanks, Russ.
Hey, no problem, man. Glad to help. The I Drink Your Milkshake Award for the best scene of the movie.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Now, this is one of the categories. Joey, who has been suggesting we do this, he sent me a message the other day, and he chimed in with his favorites as well in a few of these, so I'm going to read his off as well, too. But, Lucas, I'll let you lead off. What's your favorite scene of Superbad?
My favorite scene is where Seth is dancing with the girl, and she leaves the period blood stain on his leg. That I don't know why. It's gross and it's hilarious all at the same time. And then right after that, there's the big fight at the party where they're telling him like, "Hey, I think they were calling it. Was it Lucas's brother? Hold him down so we can beat the shit out of him." That just cracked me. That line cracked me up.
The whole party scene is actually really good. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah,
because it has this.
If our Halloween parties would have been bigger, I imagine this is exactly what it would have fucking been like.
Yeah, I mean, I even love that scene where Evan goes into the bedroom to call Becca, and then those guys come in to do drugs, and they ask him to sing the song. Every time he starts singing that, it just cracks me up. And that guy's just doing that, like, lines of coke, just coked out of his fucking mind, just eating it up and starting to go in tears. I just love it.
So, yeah, that's my favorite scene.
Joey... his favorite scene in the movie is the home economics rant. Basically the scene where it's early in the movie where they're in home ec and Seth Rogen, or I don't know why I keep calling him Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill's character has no partner. And then he just goes into that rant about being like he has to wash or rinse and dry. He's a single mom, and just goes on this tirade about how home ec is just like a shitty class for an easy A, which is how I felt too.
I love how this. I'm sorry, no offense. This is just bullshit.
Sorry, I don't mean to swear.
I don't mean to tear down your career.
But I mean, he's right though. I mean, let's be real. Like I was like when I had home ec, like this is going to be an easy A.
Yeah.
And I had never seen what tiramisu looked like until this movie. The one that Evan and I forget his partner's name, they make, that thing looked really good.
Oh, the little Asian kid that he turns into a cat.
Yeah,
that was rude.
Yeah, I thought there was. I thought that was
like
a Kiss.
that kid.
I thought that was a Kiss reference at first. I thought he was talking about Peter Criss, but yeah, that tiramisu looked fucking awesome though. And then I don't know what Emma Stone and Jonah Hill were making, but that thing looked fucking awful. It looked like they had just crumbled up a bunch of those Keebler Elf EL fudge cookies. And like,
but they probably still got an A.
Yeah. That was my runner-up for best scene in the movie. I really enjoy that scene because that also introduces everyone to McLovin. I really enjoy that. But my favorite scene is when Seth goes into the grocery store with the intent of stealing the liquor. And he starts having those daydreams of different scenarios that could happen. And I love the fucking interaction with the old woman.
Yeah. Go, what does it say? Go fuck whatever her name is.
Well, first off, he says, "Do you need help with your groceries?" And she says, "Oh, that would be lovely." And then she says, "Would you like me to buy you some alcohol?" And he goes, "Oh, that would be lovely." I think I used that for like a good solid year after that movie come out. And then as she's leaving, Jonah Hill says, "Enjoy the rest of your years." And then she goes, "Good luck fucking Jules."
Yeah, that's her name, Jules. Yeah. Enjoy fucking Jules.
Yeah, I don't know why.
The one where the fucking security guard launches that bottle and hits her in the head. Like, "Oh, you killed that old lady." And then he comes over and cuts his throat. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and even before that, where he goes to buy the alcohol and the cashier asks how old he is, and he's 22. He goes, "Well, good enough for me."
and he hands him an $80 bill.
Yeah, it's like, your total's $80, and he gives him the $80 bill and goes, here you go, sir. I was like, that whole scene is just hysterical. But it's hard to choose like a funny scene in this movie because there's a ton of them in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, what would be your choice?
I think I want to go with your scene because to be honest with you, when I was thinking about this, because I typically write my notes as I'm watching, but I couldn't at the time, so I think I'm gonna go with your scene.
Yeah,
that was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, I do like the party scene though. I have to, that whole scene with like the girl dancing on him and leaves the blood on his pants. That's so gross to think about.
Yeah.
But it also gets bonus points for Michael Cera singing "These Eyes," which I guess apparently is played in the cop car later on in the movie. They're listening to that on the radio. Yeah, I didn't hear it or see it in the movie, but it was when I was researching it. I guess apparently they play that song later on in the movie in the cop car.
That's genius.
The I Don't Like Sand, It's Coarse and Rough award for the worst or most unnecessary scene in the movie.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I couldn't really think of anything because everything it's either it's a setup for like a funny scene or even the more serious stuff is to kind of set the tone for Seth and Evan's relationship as friends. So,
I was sitting here. I didn't write one down, but I was sitting here thinking about it. I don't know if it's just we're basing this off. We have the unrated version, not the theatrical.
Right.
So I don't know if it was just the unrated version, but when they're questioning the cashier after McLovin gets punched in the face, I thought that was kind of long and drawn out, not really that funny.
Actually, there's a scene or a line in that movie that I didn't remember in the theatrical version, but I think it was just part of the unrated version. Is when they talk about they're talking about McLovin's name, and they say Bill Hader's character saying something about they busted a prostitute whose name was Fuck.
Oh, it was spelled with PH.
Yeah. I thought that scene was pretty funny too. I mean, I don't know. I guess that scene was a touch unnecessary and don't really need it. Outside, just I guess it's to let Hader and Rogan riff a little bit.
Yeah, which I didn't have a problem necessarily with it. I just thought it was a little long. That's my only it's a very nitpicky complaint.
Yeah, usually the worst or most unnecessary scene in the movie is usually just us being bitchy about it.
Just me going on a little tirade.
Yeah.
Tirade.
There you go.
I don't know.
A tyrant is someone who rules with. I'm a tyrant on this show. Tirade is where you go on a rant.
All right, cool. It's 11:30 at night. I'm with kids. This is super late for me.
Yeah. Oh, hey, dude, I get it too, man. This is probably people are gonna listen to this like, man, that's a fucking mess. I don't understand why they even put that out. Can't they do that in the morning? Nope, can't. Scheduling conflicts will not allow it. The Dylan, You Son of a Bitch award for the best line of the movie.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
My personal nominee is it's from Evan. He goes, Fogel, shut the fuck up and take off that vest. You look like Aladdin.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I think didn't Seth say that though?
He makes another mention of a Disney movie, and I don't remember what it was.
No, you're right. Yeah, Evan says that, but Seth says, yeah, you're right. I get it's kind of weird because it's Seth Rogen and the lead character's name is Seth. Fucking me up.
I have probably called Jonah Hill Seth Seth Rogen a couple times in this episode already, and just never paid attention because I'm confused too. If we were doing like Moneyball or 21 Jump Street, I'd have no problem calling him Jonah Hill, but the fact that Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill are both in this movie, I'm probably going to trip it up at least once more.
But he looks like him.
Yeah,
too.
he does a little bit.
Is that? Do you have any other nominees?
It was tough to narrow it down. I could probably rattle off 10 or 15 good ones. Like, I also like the lube line too.
Oh, your 4-inch cock. Thank you for getting lube.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't think I could handle your 4-inch dick without all this lube.
And then he throws it.
Yeah, I like that line too, and yeah, just there's so much good stuff in here. Like, it's hard to narrow it down to one. You'll probably have something better than I did, but that Aladdin line cracks me up. Also, the line in the grocery store with like, "Good luck, fucking Jules." I like that too. But
there's just something funny about old people saying
shit like that. Yeah, just
somebody.
Yeah, just despicable, like, vile stuff like that too. But what is yours?
So I have 2 nominees. McLovin. And everybody said this after them. I remember everybody saying this for a while. Chicka chicka, yeah.
That was actually, I think that was one of the sound bites that producer Adam and I were going to use for the McLovin Award. Was that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. I think there's a little more to it. I think he goes chicka chicka, yeah, chicka chicka, fake ID.
Yeah.
Something like that. But just those 3 words alone, everybody remembers that. And then when Seth and Evan are talking and they see a girl that graduated the year before, they're talking about how she got a breast reduction. And Seth calls it, he says something about it being a slap in the face of God. And Evan says something about how it was hurting her back. Well, right before they go over, like, they got to go take a peek, it goes, I got to catch a glimpse of these warlocks. Let's make a move.
And they dead sprint towards
running. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, man, that's one of those moments where I laughed out loud.
Yeah. I also like the line that Evan says, like, when they're talking about McLovin's fake ID. And he says, McLovin, what are you, an Irish R&B singer?
You fucking bitch. One fucking name. Oh, man.
That scene's pretty good, too. But I don't know. What wins this one?
Oh, man. You got to pick this one. I don't know.
I'll give it to the Warlock scene just because, like, I love what happens right after that. They just they have to go see him, so they just fucking sprint in that direction.
Tell me you don't know some people that would do that shit too. I could tell you at least 3 people that I knew growing up that would fucking do this.
Oh, dude, I do too. Like, I probably know a couple people that would do it right now. Of course, now they would be one of those things where, like, 5 seconds after running, like, whew, gotta give me a minute.
And also our significant other standing there while we're like, we gotta go catch a glimpse of these warlocks. Fucking, like, Ric Flair chop us as soon as we take off running.
Yeah. I personally think mine would be like, all right, how far is he gonna get before he starts complaining his chest hurts?
Did he grab his inhaler?
Yeah. Right. All right, he's out of breath. He's sitting down. He's done. Yeah, we'll give it to the Warlocks. I like that line too. So
that's so funny.
The McLovin Award for the best supporting performance of the movie.
I am McLovin.
Now, before you and I dig into this a little bit, Joey has nominated Christopher Mintz-Plasse as McLovin, which I think that most people would think that was probably the easy winner because we named the award after him. And McLovin's a very iconic character from this century. Like, from this era of comedies, he's probably, when you think of any character from this movie, he's going to be the first one you think of.
Right.
However, you and I both discussed this, and I think there's a very strong case for our nominees.
That is correct.
So I will let you rattle off who you got for your nominee or nominees for the McLovin?
So I have Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as the officers.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think, for one, that mustache, I also had that mustache not too long ago that Seth Rogen was rocking in this movie.
Yeah, why didn't you keep that?
I don't know. I look a lot younger than how I am now. I look like I was like 55 with that fucking handlebar.
I don't have to worry about that anymore. I could have no facial hair and look as old as I do with facial hair. So,
I just think that their chemistry together in this movie also reminded me of you and I when we used to be at work, just fucking bullshitting and talking shit
and fucking off.
Yeah.
And not doing like anything we're supposed to, but yet shit got done anyways.
That's true. But yeah, they were, without them, I don't think this movie is as good either.
Yeah, I actually had both of them down too. I think that their scenes, especially with McLovin, are probably the best scenes of the movie, really. Like, I love the scene in the grocery store parking lot where they start doing the cannonballs, and then like Bill Hader loses control of his car, and like, I don't know, like they're kind of like the cops that like you hope you end up, like if you were to get like pulled over, like you kind of hope that they're the ones because they're probably gonna fuck it up somehow.
Yeah.
But I think the two of them are really good together. I think Bill Hader's probably one of the most underrated comedic actors like in the industry right now. Like, why that guy's not a bigger star than he is blows my mind.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And everything he really does.
Yeah, and he's on that show Barry now on HBO. That's really good. I just finished that up not too long ago, where he plays the hitman and gets into acting school.
Yeah, I think he got some pretty good recognition for that, but he's still not like an A-lister.
Yeah, and I like you said, the chemistry that him and Rogan have together is phenomenal. And I think that I don't think they work as well without the other.
No,
I don't think those parts. And these are easily throwaway parts, really. I mean, you could have just put anybody in there and like focused it on McLovin getting through the night. But I think the fact that they got these two guys and like they make it their own, and they're really good, and like you kind of hope that you get more of them. Like I said, like I would be okay with a Slater and Michaels standalone movie, or fuck it, make a Netflix show, like a limited like 6 or 7 episode Netflix show with just the two of them, and I'd fucking watch it every week.
Where you have like a special appearance from Plossy, with McLovin in there, where he's like hanging out with him for one episode or something.
I think you could get anybody. You can probably get everybody except maybe Emma Stone's too big of a star at this point. And Jonah Hill, I don't know. Jonah Hill is like fucking.
He's kind of losing it, fuck. Oh man, I can't think of his name now.
He's weird. He's got bleach blonde hair. He's like all tatted up. Nothing wrong with that, but just I don't know. Like he just seems to be very peculiar.
He's kind of lost his shit a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You might be able to get him on it. I don't know, but like fuck, give me more Slater and Michaels. And I think that's like the definition of a good character. And like when I watched it last night, I probably started caring a little less about what happened with McLovin, because I think, honestly, after the fake ID stuff, he starts to lose a little steam.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a throwaway.
Whereas, like, when you see them, you kind of want more. And even, like, I don't think McLovin adds anything to their dynamic. I think, if anything, they add more to the McLovin character, make his stuff better because he's in it. So yeah, I'm totally fine giving it to Hader and Rogan.
Isn't that funny how McLovin doesn't even win his own award?
Well, I mean, he's still an iconic character, and like I said at the beginning of this, that he's probably like the one character that you will always remember from this movie.
Yeah,
he's beyond just a popular character in the movie. He's kind of a pop culture icon from that time too.
Yeah, that's true.
There's the Dan Patrick Show. They had one of their the members of the show, his nickname was McLovin, and he looked nothing like McLovin. And we used to work with a kid that we called McLovin too, if you remember. He was that kid that worked with us. He was only there for the holiday season. He told us that he knew the what's the martial art that they teach the Israeli Mossad?
Krav Maga.
Yeah. He said he knew that brand of martial art, and I think he told somebody that he could like crack or like damage your windpipe with like 2 of his fingers or something.
Is that the one that ended up going to the hospital and being like a cleaning guy?
I don't know if that was him or not.
Is he the one that he had like 17 different nicknames? We had McNugget.
No, that's not him. The one that we
okay.
thought that looked like George McFly.
Yeah.
No, that's not him. It was another kid. He didn't even work with us. He worked in the store, but I don't think he worked in the same department as us.
Fuck, man. We worked with so many people over the years, I can't even remember.
Right. Joey, I hate to break this to you, but your nominee's not winning this. We're giving this to Hader and Rogan, though.
Yeah, you're 0 for 2 now, sir.
Well, he's 0 for 3 because his scene didn't win either. His line didn't win.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. But, hey, you know what? He contributed to the show even though he declined coming on, which he could have easily done.
Man, this is the greatest podcast that he's ever heard. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate that compliment. I'm pretty sure it's the only podcast he's heard because if this is the greatest one he's done, I like to see what we're up against.
I don't know. I just made that up. I said that we're the greatest podcast in the world.
Well, we appreciate your support, Joey, and we're doing this for you. The Eric Stoltz Award for the performer that you would recast. There's nobody in this. This movie's cast pretty perfectly.
Yeah, I didn't even write that category down because I didn't even think of anything.
Well, what I always do is I have all of our categories together and I paste them onto the show notes. So it usually ends up on there anyways. Unsolved mysteries of the movie. Do you have any?
Join me. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
The only thing I have is, what do you think a sequel would look like?
I think it would have to be Seth and Evan in college. And it'd have to be one of those things where, like, Evan gets kicked out of Dartmouth, so he ends up going to the same school that Seth is going to. Because that was a big
something like he gets kicked out because of McLovin too.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, because like it could be something like the scene at the party at Jules's party when McLovin gets carted off or carried out, and he's calling them pigs and stuff, and looking like a badass. Like that somehow gets back to Dartmouth, and they kick them both out, and then they end up going to the same school that Seth is going to.
Did we just write the sequel?
I think we did.
Nice.
Although I've said it twice now, I'm all the way down for a fucking Slater and Michaels movie or show. I would fucking watch that in a heartbeat.
I don't think the sequel that we just wrote just now though would compare to Meth Gators.
No, that wouldn't. When we were toying around with what kind of show we were going to do, we discussed writing a movie where a meth gator battles a variety of different creatures, kind of like a hillbilly take on Godzilla.
Perfect. I think it would have evolved with some past politicians too.
Well, I think the climax would have been Meth Gator versus Sharknado.
And Tara Reid would have definitely been in it.
Oh, yeah. Tara Reid, the fucking Steve from 90210, and I don't know, some D-list celebrities. Maybe the Insane Clown Posse.
Ooh. Juggalos.
But
I never thought Juggalos would make it into our fucking show.
But hey, here we are. It's 11:45 at night. At this point, you and I might end up painting our faces as Juggalos before the show's over. I don't have Faygo, so I guess Diet Dr. Pepper will have to do. But
trunk full of Faygo, car full of fat chicks.
All right, that's enough of the Insane Clown Posse stuff. You've just crossed a line that I don't want to ever. I never want to cross again. Yeah, I that's a good question. I think it'd have to be them in college.
Yeah.
Or them. No, I actually I was thinking about it. That wouldn't work either. Like I was thinking like them out of school, like they've got their own families, and like their kids become friends. But
Well,
no, I don't think it works.
If it were now, then you could do that.
Yeah, I don't think it would work as well though. I think it'd have to be them in college. But that ship has sailed. I don't think you can do that now.
No.
I don't really have anything either outside of like I was curious to see if Jules and Seth and Becca and Evan, you know, how were they just like a summertime thing or did it amount to anything further than that?
Seth probably got a hand job, and Becca and Evan worked out for like the first year of college or something, and then ended up being like road trip.
Oh, that's an underrated 2000s comedy too. I fucking love Road Trip.
I love that movie. That's why I threw that reference in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. I don't think Seth and Jules last. I just think that dynamic just doesn't seem like it would work out.
Well, one of them is Abraham Lincoln.
And the other one's a weird blonde-haired guy who has weight has fluctuated very strangely.
Yes.
That's the only mystery I had is whether they ended up together.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would be curious too to see what happens to Hader and Rogen's characters too.
Do they get fired for being shitty cops?
Yeah, maybe. And you just made me think of another great line from the movies when he's talking about his first marriage and.
It was something like there was group sex that night and I wasn't a part of it.
But she was incredible.
And she was actually a whore, and I met her in this bar.
All right, the last category of the movie is the I'm the King of the World award for who wins the movie. So,
I'm the King of the World!
Lucas, who do you think wins this movie?
So I didn't originally write anything down, as you saw when I sent you the notes. But as we were sitting here talking and as I was doing a little bit more research before we started, to me it's Judd Apatow. Judd Apatow absolutely slayed like these type of movies, especially with Seth Rogen in them. And the only reason that this movie came out was because he fought so hard to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Before this movie was even filmed or anything, he was calling himself the producer of Superbad. I read that in one of the research notes. So, to me, it's Judd Apatow just because of the style of comedy. I mean, he had Knocked Up. He had, gosh, help me out. What else? He had a bunch.
Since he was either a director, writer, producer, he did Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Knocked Up, The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, man, that movie's awesome.
Superbad. He did Walk Hard.
Yeah.
Now, I gave Walk Hard another chance, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was hysterical the second time I'd seen it.
I'll have to give it another shot.
Yeah, like I remember. Didn't you go see it in the movies with me?
Yeah, I did.
And I remember you and I walked out there not liking it, but I watched it again about a year ago. Thought it was fucking hilarious. So, yeah, definitely give it another shot. I think it's well worth it. Oh, God damn, what else has he done? I know he did The King of Staten Island not too long ago. He did Funny People. What else has he done? He did Freaks and Geeks. That was a great television show on NBC that never really got a chance, but a lot of the same people. Oh, he did Pineapple Express too. I think he produced that one.
So, I mean, to me, just him getting this movie out using his position in Hollywood to almost force this through because he believed in it so much.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that makes Judd Apatow win this movie.
That's a good call. Good call. I nominated Jonah Hill and Michael Cera.
It's a good nomination.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for this movie to work, the two leads have to have pretty good chemistry, and I think these two, like, they act like they're best friends.
I could see them being best friends.
Yeah, I just think that they work so well off one another, and like the dynamic is completely different. I mean, I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I know I've complained to you that I think Michael Cera is a very one-note actor. He plays the same note as kind of like the nervous, twitchy dork kid. He's done it well. He's made a good career out of it, but that's essentially what he does.
Right.
But I think it works well as a counterbalance to Jonah Hill's brash, loudmouth Seth character. And I just think that, like I've said with, Rogan and Hader's characters, those were throwaway parts, and they could have not had someone be good and it would have been okay. But I think for this movie to work, that the two leads have to work well together. And I think these two work incredibly well together. And I mean, I think that's what makes Superbad so good. It's just, and the fact that it's not just funny, like you said, like they truly capture the best friends aspect of it. And like, there's some heartfelt moments in this movie, and like you believe that like Seth's character is legitimately hurt because he's moving in with Fogel at Dartmouth.
Right.
And then like the scene, like you said, it was kind of a little unnecessary to hug your best friend and tell him that he loved him. But I mean, we've all been there where we had a little bit too much to drink, and
apparently I have.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, when you were too sweet, the Dr. Pepper pirate. But I mean, you can make a case for Seth Rogen too, because he wrote the movie as a 13-year-old kid.
That's insane.
Yeah, Evan Goldberg. They have a legitimate case too, being so young. I think the teen comedy, like this is the last great teen comedy. I mean, there's been a couple, like Booksmart's really good, and then there's The Age of 17. It's really good, but I think the last iconic teen comedy is this one.
I'll just have to agree with you on that one because you're like the human IMDb, and I don't remember.
Oh, Booksmart's really good. You should check it out. It was Olivia Wilde did it a couple years ago.
Okay.
But
there's a lot of movies I need to check out.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why we do this show is to maybe talk. For me, it's to talk about the movies I like. Talk to the people that may have never seen these. Like maybe somebody will check out Superbad that hasn't seen it because they heard our show.
I mean, it's definitely, if we're doing a movie on here, more than likely you should check it out because just this is our own opinion, but they're good, Mm-hmm. We do this because we think the movies are good.
Yeah, whether it's a bad good movie or a good movie. So,
right.
But so who are we giving the award to?
Gosh, this is a tough one.
Fuck it, let's just give it to everybody.
There we go.
Jonah Hill, you get an award. Michael Cera, you get an award. Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Judd Apatow, y'all get awards.
Joey Mitch, you
get an award too. The first lady of the Couch Potato Podcast, Jen, because she couldn't be on there, you get the award too. Fuck it, everybody's getting it. Anyone that listens to this episode, you're getting an award too. Fuck it, y'all win the movie this time.
I shouldn't have said that Joey wins an award because now he's gonna want me to fucking print something out or something, give him an award.
Just give him the fucking gold star that they give to kids at like elementary school. Like you said, ABC. Or no, I think it's I'm trying to think. My son got one in preschool. It says "You're a shining star." It's just a gigantic gold star. Just give him one of them. You could probably print it off the internet for free in color. All right. Well, before we wrap this up, Lucas, do you have anything you want to add?
I more than likely will not be on the next episode. I will be out of town. So Russ, it'll either be you solo or with a special guest.
Lucas, just sit in the fucking airport, man. You don't need to announce your departure, okay? I think people that follow this show on a normal basis realize that you're about due to skip out on an episode anyways.
Hey, people might miss me. It's unlikely, but
I haven't gotten any feedback saying that yet.
That's rude.
All right.
Need to start talking.
I need to be heard, damn it. All right, well, I don't have
me.
All right, well, that's I don't have anything to add, so that's going to wrap it up this week. So we will talk with you guys later. And that does it for this week's episode. We hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you once again for spending just a little bit of your time with us. We do appreciate every single one of you. Coming up next week, I'm not sure what we got in store just yet. I do know Lucas won't be on next week's episode, so all you Lucas fans out there, I do apologize, but we will have a very special guest in the house. Not sure what we're doing just yet, but be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to find out all the details for the upcoming episode. So, until next week, cheers, everybody.